Hey admins, how we doing out there? Sorry the video's coming out a little late this week. Sometimes I'm hit and miss on that, and there I don't have my normal equipment, so uh, I don't have my usual setup. And as we can tell, the camera's already starting to slide on me, so I'm going to adjust it really quick. Uh, that's what you get for being on the road and trying to get some stuff done. I was trying to keep that other light out of the way. I'll try to make this short. Coming from Moosehaven this weekend, been having field staff training and meetings over the weekend, and of course Saturday was the chili cook-off. Took a few pictures, a little bit of video, and I'm going to add that to the end of this video if you wish to watch it. You don't have to. Um, but there are a few things we need to go over. I do want to thank our ATMs in the association, Rusty Shields and Mike Shane, for putting the association team together. So the association was represented along with the territory managers, Mark Minton and myself, and Kelly Benton, Mark's wife, also helped out. Actually, she did the recipe. We had a good turnout. The weather was nice. There was a little bit of rain during the day, but in Florida, that's expected. But we had a good turnout. Got to meet Ross Chastain. That was pretty cool. As we've said in previous videos, he's not going to be in the Moose Car 42 anymore. He's changing teams, and forgive me, he used to race for Chip Ganassi, and now he's racing for Trackhouse. I forget, that may or may not be right, but he'll be sponsored by the Moose again, and 4 of the races will be in the Moose car, but he will be racing in the number one car. So number one's a cool car to have. That's awesome. Uh, Technically, this is going out on Tuesday morning, so it's the 16th. So we are past the deadline for lodges that did not report to their Harley community. It's too late now to do that. Again, I remind lodges the reason why you do that is not just us creating more paperwork for you guys. That is a great way to keep records of the charity work that we do and donations we give out. That's an IRS thing. Again, they could come in any time to a lodge and want us to prove what we've done, and that's a good document to be able to go back on. That has happened before in other lodges where the IRS walked in and wanted proof, and maybe we had a check written, maybe there was some paperwork done, but then they wanted more proof, and it's just always one of the easiest things to go back in and be able to report. Um, Another big issue, and we're going to be hitting it a lot more in the weeks to come, is the expired women that owe lodge dues. Not talking about chapter dues, lodge dues. All women now have to pay lodge dues as one moose. They do not have to pay chapter. If they were current on April 30th, and I know I'm repeating myself over and over again, but unfortunately this is not getting through to a lot of people, and we need to make sure this information comes from Moose International and myself to you as administrators and the board of officers and to the general membership. And some chapters are still getting this wrong, so we need to get the word out as much as possible. If they were current on April 30th, they get 3 years of chapter dues for free, but that does not include lodge dues. So when their lodge regular chapter membership would have expired, that's when their lodge dues will expire. So there's two things at this stage of the year. The women were giving the new one moose card at the beginning of the year, of the moose year, so May 1st, um, that were in a certain period of months. And then by now, if any woman has a blue card, she's using an expired card. Yes, it may say the chapter years on it, it may say current, but it won't say lodge. So they are not current if they're using a blue card. And yes, they can use the blue card to get in the door for the lodges that have electronic systems, because all that system is doing is reading a date on the card, and that's embedded in the magnet strip. So if they're running that card, it may still let them in. But we need to tell our bartenders and everybody to keep an eye out for the blue cards for the women. If they have it, that's an expired card. They need to have the one moose card, which is the white card with the one moose logo on it. On that card, it says on there when their chapter dues and how long they're good for, and most of them run till 2025. Same thing as the Moose Legion, though. There's that number. But in that far bottom right-hand corner is when their lodge dues expire. If their lodge dues have expired and they're not current, their chapter dues are not good. Just as the men would be if they had paid multiple years for their Moose Legion, but they let their lodge expire. Those Moose Legion dues would not be good. So we need to make sure we're working with bartenders and keeping an eye out for those cards. Make sure we're carding people, which we should be doing on a regular basis anyway, is carding some of our members randomly and looking out for that. We're going to be talking more about dispensations soon because we have several lodges not doing a good job on dispensations, and that leaves the lodge open to a lot of liability issues for not getting dispensations for proper events. I won't go into that right now in this video because I try to keep these fairly short, but if you're having fundraising events, open to the public events, lots of things, changing bank accounts, doing projects that are over $5,000. There are lots of things you have to have dispensations for. We're going to be covering more of that, and we'll be hitting that pretty hard in the future. Let's see, the last thing that I really wanted to cover was just, again, when we're talking to bartenders about looking for cards, we have to remember that in Moose bylaws, the bartenders are the most important person and have the most authority inside the social quarters when they're working. So it is their job, and this is what we seem to be having a lot of trouble with, is bartenders following rules, carding people, letting people come in who aren't members and purchase things they shouldn't be purchasing. And when it comes to decorum issues, fighting, cursing, things like that, they're not willing to write up an incident report on a member who either started a fight or was excessively cussing and making a scene. Their theory is, well, I don't want to write somebody up because that person tips me. Well, what we have to remember is we want a family-oriented environment, and there's a time and place for certain things, and in the Moose social quarters is not the place for excessive cursing and fighting and things like that. If they do not do the process and let those individuals keep cursing and fighting, it's going to run off other good members. And if they keep the proper kind of environment that we want, we're going to have good members coming in, and they will tip. So they're only hurting themselves by letting the bad behavior go on, because before you know it, the social quarters isn't busy, people aren't coming in because of the way people are behaving, and then there aren't any more members in there except for the couple of bad ones, and then they've lost more tips because they've lost more clientele, and then they have to rely on those bad people, and before you know it, the lodge is not doing well. So we just need to make sure we're doing more training with our bartenders on that. Also, bartenders need to know more about the Moose program. That's on you guys to train them. There is a training program for bartenders that covers the history of Moose, Mooseheart, Moosehaven, things like that. They need to realize when people come in and talk about joining, being able to sign somebody up, tell them what the Moose does besides drinking at the bar, what they do locally, what they do with Mooseheart, Moosehaven. So we need to do more training with our bartenders on that. We also need to make sure the bartenders understand that the social quarters manager or administrator is their direct boss, that the president, the trustees don't have authority in the social quarters. Their authority stops at the end of a meeting. Yes, those individuals might be keeping an eye on their behavior. They might tell somebody to calm down in the social quarters who's misbehaving. But again, those individuals have no extra authority. The bartender is the person with the authority in the social quarters. It seems like we have too many officers that are either threatening bartenders or telling them what to do, and they have no authority. We have just too many cooks in the kitchen, and it makes things very confusing. They need to know who their boss is and who they need to report to. Again, that's a training. It comes down to training, and we got to keep working on that. Again, we'll be working on that with lodges more in the future, just some things to keep in mind. That's all I have right now. I'm actually reaching 10 minutes. I didn't want to be that long, and there's going to be some extra clips here at the end. don't worry if you don't want to watch the rest of it. Again, this coming week, I'm going to be on the road for a couple of days, and then I have some more meetings coming up. So I will be hard to get a hold of. Texting and emailing is the best way because I will check those at the end of the day, but I will not be able to respond during the days until next Monday. So we're talking, a week from today. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate y'all. Have a good day. Take care. Bye.
So nice. I got you. So good. So good. I got you. Woo, man. So good. So good. I got you.
Again, it was a nice day, and I want to thank everybody that put time and effort into making this successful. I want to thank the association for allowing us to represent them. I think those gentlemen also. It was a good day, good turnout, and again, I just want to thank everybody, especially that group right there. I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. Bye.